welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Joseph Hennessy. Thanks for joining us. The Supreme Court says drawing voting districts for political gain may be unjust, but that's for federal courts to decide. In a 5-4 decision, the court ruled federal judges do not have the power to rule on gerrymandering cases. Justices considered challenges out of North Carolina and Maryland on maps some view as unfair. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote, "The practice is incompatible with democratic principles, but it does not mean that the solution lies with the federal judiciary." The court's decision means Ohio won't have to redraw its congressional district maps until 2022. In May, a 3-judge panel had ruled Ohio's congressional districts unconstitutional. They ordered new maps to be drawn for the 2020 election. The state appealed the ruling to the Supreme Court, which tabled the case until it ruled on cases related to today's ruling. Ohio has previously been accused of packing a large amount of Democrats into small areas, giving the swing state a 12-4 Republican advantage in Congress. Ohio's case is expected to be dismissed shortly. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose is reaching out to community groups to help maintain the state's voter rolls. The state is compiling a list of people who have not voted or updated their registration in the past 6 years. They are then sharing that list to community groups so that they can help find those people and encourage their voting participation. Ohio leaders met today and are debating over a budget plan as the Sunday deadline looms. The current version of the plan would lower income taxes for individuals, spend more on foster care and boost services benefiting students. The 3 Republican leaders met this morning as work continued in a joint House-Senate committee ironing out differences between the chambers. A key debate is likely between the Senate's proposed 8% personal income tax cut and the House's proposed cut of 6.6%. The son of a former U.S. Attorney General is supporting an Ohio House bill that would prohibit employers from mandating vaccines. Attorney Robert Kennedy Jr., the son of former U.S. Attorney General Bobby Kennedy and former President John F. Kennedy, spoke at the Ohio State House yesterday in favor of the legislation. Kennedy said mild childhood infectious diseases with low mortalities in America have been traded for a large number of vaccine-induced chronic diseases. Health experts dispute his claim. A state agency has awarded a total of more than $28 million in tax credits for the rehabilitation of 49 historic buildings in Ohio. The Ohio Development Services Agency announced the Ohio Historic Preservation Tax Credits yesterday. The agency's release says the projects are expected to leverage approximately $280 million in private investments in 13 communities. Athens County is now in economically distressed status, according to an Appalachian Regional Commission report released this month. Athens is among 10 counties throughout Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia moving in a negative trend. The ARC report evaluates the region using county data on unemployment, per capita income, and poverty. That data is then used to rank the counties from distress through attainment. The coming year will have 80 distressed counties in Appalachia, the lowest number since 2008.
It was definitely a hot day out there today, and it's going to be cooling down as we go over the next couple hours. Right now it's going to be 85 degrees. That temperature is going to be dropping drastically. We do have some thunderstorms in the vicinity that's going to be cooling down the temperature. So if you're around the area, you might have a few pop-up showers, a couple downpours at times. The humidity is at 65%, and that's going to be increasing as we go overnight tonight, nearing 100%. It's going to be a very humid night. Southwest winds of 0 to 5 miles per hour. I would take a look at precipcast. This is what we're dealing with, these pop-up storms around the area. These are going to be pushing out of the area. We have a few more showers starting off over in Ross County here, moving into Athens. Not going to be too concerning into overnight hours, not going to be very severe, but you still might have a few downpours as well. Zooming out to the national precipcast, we have clear skies for the most of the time. We're under the storm of high pressure, still giving way to those sunshines. I'm not tracking any type of widespread rain showers over the next couple of days, so it's going to be very, very dry conditions out there, Joe. It's going to be very nice and sunny. Make sure you grab the sunscreen and sunglasses.
Thanks, Blake. Health officials in West Virginia say cases of hepatitis A are slowing in comparison to last year. They will not, however, declare the outbreak over until the number of cases drops to the baseline of 3 per year. According to the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, the state has more than 2,500 active cases of hepatitis A. Kanawha County has the most with 809. A natural gas leak prompted authorities to evacuate a one-block area surrounding a West Virginia shopping plaza. South Charleston police reported to WSAZ that utility workers punctured a natural gas line. The Kanawha County Commission released a statement saying it was a contractor working at the plaza. Emergency crews had to shut off the power in that area, but it is now back on. Kentucky officials say hundreds of probation and parole officers are getting a raise. This comes after the state is making the first adjustment to the state salary schedule in more than a decade. Governor Matt Bevin says the salary bump will help recruit and retain officers. Lancaster residents will be paying a higher motor vehicle license tax starting in 2020. The Lancaster Eagle Gazette reports City Council voted unanimously to approve the tax increase to help fund road and bridge repairs within the city. The tax will increase from $10 to $15. Lancaster Department of Transportation Superintendent Greg Hintz said the tax is expected to generate more than $265,000 annually. Sorry about that. In the 80s and 90s, the Athens Brick Criterium was considered one of the toughest races in America for many pro cyclists. And after 2 decades of absence, cyclists from around the country returned to Athens to compete. Newswatch reporter Ben Schwartz has the story.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, run away!
Dozens of bike riders take to the bricks uptown for the return of bicycle racing in Southeast Ohio. Riders raced on a 0.6-mile loop through the uptown area, ranging in time from 30 minutes for lower levels up to 70 minutes for professionals. In its heyday, the Athens Brick Criterium attracted pro racers and future world champions such as Greg LeMond and Lance Armstrong. As Charky Hugel warms up for his race, he says it's good to see places like Athens hosting races.
Well, we've seen a trend recently where some places that have had long-standing bike races have done away with them for different reasons. So it's refreshing to see a city that's embracing it again, and it looks like the turnout's pretty good. There are a lot of people up there watching, which is always good. The community's involved. And
Hugel's teammate Eric Sarantoni agrees that Athens provides racers with a rare opportunity.
Us guys have a lot of races around us that are kind of, big open parking lot crits at times, and so that's most of our weekday stuff. So it's nice to come out and actually get like a pretty unique course with some bricks and some elevation change.
Hugel and his team traveled all the way from North Carolina for the race. Riders also came from places like Pittsburgh and Chicago. According to Brick Criterium organizer and Athens native Daniel Brown, turnout like this has him hopeful of a return next year.
So there's a lot of people came from afar, and it's great. And they all said they're going to tell their friends and bring them back. So hopefully we do it again next year.
An old school Athens tradition brought back to town with a bright future ahead. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Ben Schwartz.
Final results for the Athens Brick Criterium can be found at usacycling.org. We take a look back on the 50-year anniversary of the Stonewall Inn riots, and the Supreme Court had another big ruling concerning the census. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell its story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
President Trump says he is looking to delay the 2020 consensus after the Supreme Court ruled it cannot include a question about citizenship. The Trump administration claimed the citizenship question is necessary to better comply with the federal voting rights laws. Chief Justice Roberts and the court found the administration had offered a contrived explanation for the additional question. Data from the census is used to allocate congressional seats and distribute billions of federal dollars to states and local municipalities. In 2016, the U.S. Treasury Department said that they would replace Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill with abolitionist Harriet Tubman. 2020 is fastly approaching and little progress has been made. Congressional leaders spoke of their anger over the delay.
I urge the President of the United States. Yes. Pick up your phone, Mr. President. Call Secretary Mnuchin and say, Mr. Secretary, this is the right thing to do for America. Make it happen.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer asked for an official inquiry into why progress had yet to be made on the bill's creation. June 28th marks the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York. Days of violent protests largely seen as the catalyst for the LGBTQ rights movement. Kristen Holmes has more on how the riots changed history.
In the early morning hours of June 28, 1969, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar and known safe space for the LGBTQ community in New York City.
Patrons were there enjoying their time together, and the police tried to raid the bar again. The patrons said enough is enough and fought back, and that resistance, that riot went on for days.
At the time, homosexuality was illegal in most states and still defined as a mental illness. Many consider the riots a turning point in the gay rights movement in America.
When the Stonewall riots happened, I was 9 years old, and I was living in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I thought I was the only transgender person in the world, and I was totally and utterly alone. And all these people in New York were doing this amazing thing for me. They didn't know they were doing it for me. They were doing it for themselves. They were doing it for everybody. But what they did made my life as I know it possible.
Now, 50 years later, LGBTQ activists say the fight continues.
We have healthcare providers who still don't know how to competently provide us healthcare, and who sometimes, particularly now, are being told by the federal government that it's okay to discriminate against us.
The dream for me is that we will have legislation on the federal level in the form of the Equality Act that will protect the rights of LGBTQ people in healthcare, in housing, in their jobs, and in every single domain.
I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
Pride Month is held every June partially because of the Stonewall riots. New vaccine guidelines for a common disease. That story still ahead.
And we're going to have pop-up showers overnight tonight, and it's going to be hot and muggy this evening. I'll have your weekend forecast next on Newswatch. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell its story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
It was a hot day out there today. It's going to be changing as we go into the overnight hours tonight. It's going to be cooling down pretty drastically. Right now it's 85 degrees in Athens. Again, it's going to be cooling down as we do have thunderstorms moving through the area, and the humidity is going to be rising. Right now we're at 65%, but because of all the rain we're having this evening, hitting that hot pavement from today, it's going to be evaporating, going right into the atmosphere, making the humidity very high this evening. Southwest winds are 0 to 5 miles per hour. Right now around the region, we do have thunderstorms moving through the area. 89 degrees at one spot down there in Ironton, 86 in Ripley, 84 up in Cambridge, and 85 in New Martinsville. All of us have those thunderstorms moving up through the area. Those should be dissipating within the next couple hours or so. We take a look at precipcast. This is what we're dealing with. These couple pop-up storms moving through the area. Because of the heat throughout the day giving more energy to the atmosphere, it's hard to tell exactly where these pop-up storms are going to happen, but they should be dissipating into the overnight hours around 9 o'clock as the sun begins to set into the area. We take a look tonight in Athens, 67 degrees. Because of the humidity, it's going to be at 100%. It's going to be another foggy night out there tonight. So if you're driving out and about in the low-lying areas, it might be a little foggy out there. We have southwest winds of 0 to 5 miles per hour, so it's not really pushing the fog out there. It's kind of just sitting in those low-lying areas. We take a look around the region. Similar conditions, foggy around most of the area. 69 degrees in Ripley, 67 in Marietta, 70 degrees at one spot up in Columbus, and 66 over in Cambridge as well. As we take a look, daily planner waking up tomorrow at 8 a.m., 72 degrees. Fog is going to be mostly gone at this point, but you might have a few lingering areas of fog, especially near the Hocking River. Anytime you have a water source, it might have a little bit of foggy areas. 12 p.m. warming up for your lunch hour at 84 degrees. It's going to be a hot lunch hour. You might want to eat lunch inside tomorrow, whether you have some AC. And 4 p.m. for your drive home, 88 degrees. It's going to be a hot evening. The heat index, because of the humidity, is going to feel like it's going to be 92 degrees tomorrow evening, so a very warm night out there. I would take a look at precipcast tomorrow. Nothing on the board at the moment. Clear skies. Again, we might have a few pop-up showers in the evening time. Nothing to really cancel plans for, but for the most part, no widespread rain. It's going to be a fairly dry day tomorrow. High temperature for tomorrow in Athens, 88 degrees, sunny skies out there. It's going to be a pretty muggy day out there tomorrow, 50% up to 80% at times during parts of the day, so it's pretty muggy. The heat and the UV index is going to be 9, which is considered very high, so make sure you grab a sunblock. SPF 30 if you can. Southwest winds 0 to 5 miles per hour tomorrow. Around the region tomorrow, 92 in Ripley, 92 in Ironton as well for our warm spots, 91 in Marietta, and 87 up in Cambridge, all of us under the sunny skies. So it's going to be a very hot day, very bright day. Make sure you grab those sunglasses. Don't forget those at home. Precipcast tomorrow night. Again, pop-up showers throughout most of the southeast Ohio. Hard to tell exactly where they're going to be, so be prepared for some downpours at times for the area. We take a look at the weekend forecast. Friday, looking at 90 degrees. Sunny start to your weekend. Saturday, 89 degrees. Evening storms are possible. And Sunday, scattered storms for most of the day on Sunday. Looking at Monday, 87 degrees for your extended forecast. Sunny skies out there. Tuesday, chance of thunderstorms in the evening time, as well as Wednesday and Thursday as well because of all that heat out there. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Blake. The first named tropical storm of the eastern Pacific Ocean hurricane season has formed. Tropical storm Alvin is currently about 400 miles off of the coast of Mexico. Alvin's current wind speeds are 40 miles per hour. Forecasters do not expect the storm to strengthen above a weak tropical storm. They predict that the winds will not reach above 45 miles per hour winds and that Alvin will weaken into a tropical depression by the end of the week. A tropical storm has to have sustained winds of 74 miles per hour to be classified as a hurricane. The HPV vaccine has new guidelines with more age categories being advised to get the preventative medication. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted Wednesday to recommend men get the vaccine through age 26. That mirrors the age advised for women. The CDC also updated recommendations for older adults ages 27 to 45 who haven't been vaccinated to talk to their doctors about getting immunized. HPV vaccines are not licensed for anyone over 45. HPV is often spread through sex and can lead to 6 cancer types. Is sitting always bad for your health? A new study finds sitting at your desk and working is not as bad for your heart and longevity as sitting watching TV. Researchers monitored nearly 3,600 black adults for more than 8 years. In the time they spent sitting at work, watching TV, and exercising, they found that often or always sitting at work was not associated with an increased risk of death and heart disease. Those who watched at least 4 hours of TV each day had a 50% higher risk of heart issues when compared to those who watched less than 2 hours a day. One of America's favorite fish is rising in price due to tariffs. And a lot of American jobs are changing, but Americans aren't worried. Next on Newswatch. But stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS. We're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Money problems are keeping Americans awake at night. A new report from Bankrate.com found that nearly 1 in 3 adults lose sleep over money, specifically worrying about everyday expenses. People also lay awake thinking about money-related issues like retirement savings, health care, and paying off debt like credit cards and mortgage payments. Women lose sleep over money a little more than men, 59% of women compared to 54% of men. 78% of Americans lose sleep over other issues like work and relationships. Some of America's favorite fish are now more expensive. This is due to the tariffs that United States put in place against China. The Trump administration raised tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports, including tilapia and other fish. The new 25% rate really kicked in this month, and this fishery felt it. Importers face a choice: observe the 25% cost or pass it on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Many importers made the decision to pass it on to consumers. That led to orders from America dropping by 20%. Artificial intelligence is very quickly transforming the job market, and now a just-released report reveals how employees really feel about fast-paced technology advances. Mary Maloney has more in today's Consumer Watch.
Worried about robots taking your job one day? According to a new survey, most people aren't. The report from global staffing firm Robert Half finds that only 12% of surveyed workers are worried that technological advancements will have a negative impact on their job. In fact, research found that nearly half of workers believed it would have no impact at all. Surveyed workers were asked about automation and artificial intelligence. Automation is allowing for robots and AI software to take care of tedious tasks like data entry or customer inquiries. This saves companies money and increases productivity. According to the 1,200 business leaders surveyed, the tech advancements mean employees may have to step up their game, but most workers are welcoming the changes. The survey found that almost 40% of workers believe advancements will have a positive impact on their job, and experts say, get used to the changes. Robots are already transforming the nature of jobs faster than ever before. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
A separate report by the Brookings Institution says that roughly a quarter of all American jobs will be severely disrupted by artificial intelligence. From concerts to stargazing, there is a lot to do tonight. Here's a look at what's coming up in today's community calendar. This may look like an Andy Warhol painting, but it's actually a photo from space. NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope captured these images off the Whirlpool Galaxy, representing different wavelengths of light. The Whirlpool Galaxy is actually two galaxies on top of each other. They pull on each other, causing distortion through gravity. That is what is causing the haze you can see on the images. The different colors represent the changes to the light. The view on the left shows the light the human eye can see. The colors gradually change as the telescope captures more infrared light.
It's going to be a warm and humid night out there tonight. Low temperatures tonight in Athens is going to be 67 degrees. We do have scattered storms early. Those should be dissipating around 9 o'clock this evening. It's going to be another foggy night. It's going to be humidity around 100% to this evening. Southwest winds 0 to 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow in Athens is going to be a hot 88 degrees out there, so make sure you grab the sunscreen and take frequent breaks. If you're going outside playing, doing any work outside, take frequent breaks inside, drink plenty of water. Southwest winds 0 to 5 miles per hour. For your Saturday, we do have some evening time thunderstorms possible, and Sunday more widespread thunderstorms are possible, but the start of your work week on Monday, sunshine does finally return, 87 degrees, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Because it's so hot out there, it's going to give more energy to the atmosphere, giving more storms, so we're going to have a few possible storms in the evening time.
Yeah. Not really looking forward to the storms, though. Looking forward to the heat. Don't really want the storms, though, am I right?
Right.
All right, and that does it for tonight's broadcast. Thanks for watching, but continue to stay tuned to WOUB PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Blake Hardesty, I'm Joseph Hennessy. Have a great night.